Welcome to The Better Life with Dr. Mariane Pinkston. Join Dr. Pinkston today as she teaches you how an integrative approach to health, combining holistic and contemporary medical information, can lead you to the better life. And now, here's your host, Dr. Mariane Pinkston.
Hello there, and welcome to The Better Life with Dr. Mariane Pinkston. I am Dr. Mariane Pinkston, and I am here today with a very good friend of mine that is also a professional at a lot of things, but she's with me on Global Pain Association. We do a lot of hard work there, but she also is with Restore Biosciences, which is a CBD company. And, you know, CBD is something that I think everybody is a little confused about.
Confused and curious.
Exactly.
Yes.
A lot of myth and things out
Right.
there. And so tell us a little bit, first of all, about you and your involvement with Restore and what Restore is.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on today. I'm honored to be here and grateful that you asked me to come.
Honor's
So
mine.
thank
Absolutely.
you. Yeah. So Restore Biosciences is a CBD company here in San Antonio, Texas. And I started it, if you don't mind me saying.
I'm not at all.
Because I was diagnosed with 6 autoimmune diseases.
Yeah.
And so I was in a lot of pain.
Yes.
And, you know, the doctor gives you your pain scale, and I was living at an 8 every day. Like nothing was giving me relief. And so I tried CBD. Well, this was from Colorado back in the day before we had it here.
Sure.
And it really helped. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is a miracle.
Right.
So long story short, time went on. We finally got some here, although a different type.
Right.
And I went ahead and started using it consistently every day. And it didn't have any THC in it, but it worked.
Right.
You know, it took about 4 months for me to go from that 8 to about a 2 on the pain scale.
Gotcha.
So it was, to me, that was a miracle. Today, however, after being on it for, over 2 years, I don't have any pain. Now, there's days like when the weather.
Any pain.
I don't have any. Now, on days when the weather's bad, I might, get a little achy or something. But
that is different than
no,
that
I don't have any
chronic
now.
pain. Right.
Do most people do that? No, but most people can get some significant reductions in their pain. So
most people would actually love to just reduce their pain, if not get rid of it, but reduce it. So,
exactly.
Sure.
Yeah, so there's some tricks to it. And so I was curious about why it worked for some people and why it didn't for others.
Sure.
So I found...
First of all, is it a drug? Because most people think that their drug tests are going to be positive if they take it, or that there's going to be...
Yeah, so the answer to that question is kind of complicated because it really depends on what they're testing you for.
Sure.
So some companies will test for any type of what's called a cannabinoid in the plant, which is, everybody's heard of THC, I think, and CBD. Those are cannabinoids that are within the plant. So if they're testing for all of them, then yes, it'll show up positive. But if they're testing for THC, which is the psychoactive component, that's what people, how they get high.
That's what's illegal.
Yeah, that's what's illegal.
So.
Yes. And so if they're testing for that, certain types, you will not test positive. Those are the ones without THC. Now, that's what I'm using.
Right.
It does not have any THC in it, so I would not test positive for THC.
Which is wonderful. So sorry for the interruption.
No,
I just want to make
it's
sure we establish that, because that's a big one right there.
Exactly. So it's not necessarily a drug. It's a medicine, right? It's a plant medicine supplement, right? And I like to call it medicine because that's really, how I'm using it.
Sure.
And it's working wonderful. My doctor's aware. And,
absolutely.
It's good.
Your
stuff.
doctor's involved.
Right. He is involved, yes.
Dr. Pendleton Wickersham, which takes care of both of us.
Right,
And he's very much involved, which is wonderful.
He is. And thank God for that. He's amazing.
Well, I interrupted you. But
no worries. No worries. So I was curious, and so I found a very extensive cannabis coach certification course online. And it took me about 12 months to finish this.
Wow.
So this isn't, there's other quote unquote cannabis coaches, but they only take a few days class, know a little bit about it, and then they're certified. Mine is a lot more extensive. It's 36 college hours. And so I really know how it works within the body, how the plant works, how you metabolize it, what drugs interact with it, all those type of things. So I can help people the CBD or what have you work better for that person.
Right.
Because I know how. So when people are saying, oh, it's not working for me, I can tell them what to do based on what they tell me.
Yes.
how, to make it work for them.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing that's great, because I really enjoy it. This is a labor of love. It is. This is my passion. I want everybody to be pain-free. So that's how it is, And so, that's what we do. I help people, and I help them for free of charge, because I want it to work for them.
That is wonderful. Yeah. And you do. If I ever refer anybody to you, you work very hard for them, and that's wonderful that you offer your services like that. So tell us, a few of the top myths, things that people think that would keep them from using this, because I love CBD. I use it as well. I also use a non-THC based CBD, and I use Restore a lot. And I have two that I go between. You're probably going to smack me for that.
No, I know.
But Restore is incredibly important to my life and has helped me so much. And that's why I want to have you here, because your knowledge has also helped me understand and help my patients. So with what are the biggest myths, I think, that are hurdles that patients can't get over in order we can get them over now to use it? Right.
So I think the biggest thing is thinking they're going to be high. So there's a lot of people that they get scared and they won't even try it because they think they will. And that's not always the case. It depends on which type you use. There's several different types.
Sure.
But in terms of using it and what's happening, they'll say, oh, I tried it, didn't work for me. Well, number one, they probably weren't using a high enough milligram for their body. Mm-hmm. Number two, they probably weren't taking it consistently, at least twice a day. Some people need it even more. There are some people, however, that need it less.
Yeah.
So they probably weren't taking it properly and consistently. Sure. And then I find that they jump around on things and not really...
And don't stay with it.
Correct.
Long enough,
and don't stick with it long enough, because especially the type that does not have THC in it, it does take a little time for it to kind of build up in your body, if you will. And
you said 4 months.
Correct. Yes.
And 4 months
I'm a little longer than
anyway.
Right. Yes.
But you're more severe too. So it's
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have noticed too that people that have a lot of diagnoses, they tend to be higher dosage. That's not a scientific study that I've done, but it's an observation that I've seen after seeing, hundreds and hundreds of people now.
Absolutely.
So it's just, you've got to be patient with it.
Right.
That's the bottom line. And the longer you're on it, the more it will do as well.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. So. Well, and I think we are in an instant gratification world. I talk about this all the time with weight loss or, antidepressants or anything else. We are in an instant gratification world. So, tell us more. What types of CBD does Restore have? Tell us what Restore does.
So we have what's called broad spectrum, and our oils still have all of the cannabinoids and terpenes and flavonoids in it, which is beneficial.
Yes.
Because it keeps the plant to be able to have the entourage effect where it can actually hit all of your receptors, right? And so we have the sublingual oils to where it'll go in and work inside your body. And we have some fantastic topicals that you can rub on that have essential oils in them and everything that's anti-inflammatory, and they just fly off the shelf. Right. And then we just recently launched an extra strength nighttime that has a CBN in it that works wonderful for sleep.
And sometimes people who don't know what they're doing take a little too much of it and call you in the middle of the night and say, what the heck did I just do?
You made yourself sleepy.
I wonder who that was, but yes, it does work.
Yes,
it's wonderful.
Yes.
It is. It's wonderful.
Yes, and I can't even find any more that have that high of milligrams of CBN in their products. So we're excited about that, because everybody, especially people with a lot of pain, chronic pain, they need sleep.
Absolutely. And sleep problems is a huge problem. So not only pain do I see in my clinic, but I see, people who have absolutely, a terrible time sleeping, and that's a huge, or anxiety, or, what are all the things that CBD, we're not just talking pain, what are all the things that CBD treats?
It can help with your mood, body discomfort, sleep, just in terms of relaxation, just kind of de-stressing you. It puts your body into homeostasis is what it does, actually. And so it's just really good for anything that, can calm. It's a very calming, Now, if it has THC in it, can be, the opposite. But we won't get into that right now because we don't have enough time.
Right, we don't have enough time, but also
it's
too,
a very complicated subject.
It is very complicated, but it's also, still legal now, so I guess it's kind of beside the point.
Right.
And I know there are some medicinal THC CBD combinations through, some process through the state,
correct,
things like that are legal, but still, this is a product that you don't have to go through a doctor to get. I would like for you to.
I would too. I would like for you to ask first.
And not because it's something to make money off of or something trying to be pushed. And it's not for that. I mean, this woman works for free for people. So it really is more about doing it correctly because most people can buy something. You can go to the grocery store or the gas station down the street and buy a CBD product. You don't know what you're getting.
You do not know, and that's the scary thing. You really don't. And there's a lot of places stores that I've seen that sell CBD, but it's not their brand, right? So they don't really know what's in there.
No.
They don't have control of it. We have control of what's in ours.
Absolutely. So and there's so many different people and a lot of people didn't survive the COVID, the overtaking of business, the way a lot of people failed. But with that, why do you think people skirt kind of doing it the right way? Is it just a lack of knowledge or fear of cost I
think it's a combination. I think it's a lack of knowledge. And then also it is a financial factor because some people cannot sustain the cost long term. Now we have, there's various products, there's things we can do if you don't have the resources. But I think that's basically the two main things that people have issues with.
When I talk to people about cost, most of the time the first thing that they say is, well, is it on my insurance? And no, but think about how much money you spend trying to feel better or that you spend because you feel so bad. Right. So one thing I tell people is that, during my, with my rheumatoid arthritis during the early years and, before I got things straight with CBD and hormones and things like that, I would literally go by and buy food on the way home for my family, fast food and things like that, several times a week, which could be $150, $200. There's 5 of us.
Right.
And I didn't think about it,
Right.
And that I could spend that on, one bottle of something that would eliminate all these different things that I'm taking and help me get through the day, and I could go home and cook.
Exactly.
So really, when you take care of yourself and you do things the right way, you wind up saving money on the other end. You do. Because you're going to buy that cell phone. You're going to pay for that cell phone, that $1,200 cell phone. And
I've had people that I didn't think could afford it, and they found a way. They made it a priority. I think that's what you have to do. You're just making yourself a priority.
Right. I don't think people are very good at that, but I also think people are into the instant gratification factor.
Absolutely.
If it doesn't work in the first dose, then that's it. Yes. Never mind.
And I actually have that conversation with people when I talk to them as well. How patient are you?
Yeah, exactly, because you do. Well, I have, I also prescribe things like low-dose naltrexone and things like that, and I think works in combination with this, but that's the same talk. Exactly. It's the same talk with weight loss. It's the same talk with, anything that is real and true in medicine that really helps.
Right.
So what else do you want people to know about CBD? I know you hit these obstacles all the time with people about what they think about it.
I do. And I guess, do your research. Make sure you're getting a good quality oil. Check for lab results, ask about that. If you need help, call somebody that's educated, and can actually get you through, answer your questions and help you to be able to use it instead of wasting your money trying to just, I'm going to bring it. I'm going to do it on my own. Yeah. I had some people tell me, that they've spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars trying to find a CBD that works. They know it works, but it just isn't working for them. And then I find out, they're buying something that's just not appropriate for their needs.
Absolutely.
And, it's the lesser end of the financial spectrum, and then also the milligrams, and you get what you pay for. Absolutely. It is. This is definitely one of those things where you want to buy up on this.
Absolutely. Yeah. So how do people find you and get in touch with you?
So our website is takerestore.com. Okay. Or you can call at 866-479-6646. And you can text on that too, believe it or not.
That's great.
Yeah.
And all of this is going to be on my website. So I'm going to highlight you and Restore on the website and have all your information. So if you want to just go to where you can find me, and that's drpbetterlife.com, then you can find all of the links and all the platforms. So I'm not only on San Antonio radio at 4 on Sundays, but I'm also on YouTube for those of you watching, and then on all the platforms for podcasts, iTunes and the such. So I do need to say just a few little things about my, sponsor, because I have a wonderful sponsor. I do. In fact, Dr. Wickersham was trying to get me into them to take care of myself. And imagine that. I'm not doing that, silly doctor. So it is Pinnacle Clinical Research with Dr. Harrison, their group over there. They work with fatty liver and non-alcoholic fatty liver and various other diseases of the liver. But what they offer is a free fibroscan. So you can go and get, everybody goes and gets their ultrasounds and whatnot through their doctor, but you can actually go get something done that is a lot better and more specific and sensitive. And it is a free fibroscan. So I'm going to give a couple of numbers. In Austin, because I know I'm heard up in Austin, it's 210-529-7978. And in San Antonio, actually, I think I just gave you the San Antonio number. So that's 210-529-7978. It's always a pleasure, isn't it? And then in Austin, 512-601-5788, or Pinnacle, PINNACLE research.com. Again, that is also on my website. So drpbetterlife.com. So we are going to take a few minutes and go to a break. And, before I do, I want you to kind of give the Restore website again, so I don't mess it up, because I know.
Okay, yeah. Yes, so it's www.takerestore.com.
Easy peasy.
Well, I made it easy because Restore Biosciences was way too long.
Right. And
that's where we started, but I was like, no, let's make it easier.
Make it easier. So, and you can reach Tina on that note. And so we'll take a short break and come back on the other side.
Fatty liver is linked to two different situations, alcohol and diabetes, or obesity. In both cases, patients can have no symptoms. In the United States, and in particular, Texas, the most common cause of liver disease in general is non-alcoholic fatty liver. Again, associated with overweight, obesity, and/or diabetes. Additional risk factors include high cholesterol, high blood pressure, Hispanic ethnicity, and postmenopausal status. At Pinnacle Clinical Research, we offer a quick, non-invasive ultrasound-based screening assessment called FibroScan. This test is done at no cost to you, and we do not take insurance. The test will measure the fat and stiffness in your liver and stage your risk and development of fatty liver disease. You will meet with a provider immediately following your scan to go over your results. If you're interested in getting more information on your liver health, please call 210-982-0320 and schedule your FibroScan today. We are conveniently located in the Medical Center at 5109 Medical Drive.
Welcome back. I am with Tina Peterson today from Restore Biosciences, a CBD company that I think does it right, because there are so many people out there that do not do it right. So we are talking about some of the myths today and how to get around that and find something wonderful, which I'm hoping that you'll try Restore, because this is a fantastic product. So all of the information that we're talking about and finding Tina will be on the website. It's drpbetterlife.com. I'll give the Restore information here in a few minutes. So I know we're talking about different types there over the break.
Right.
So give me the lowdown for people to understand.
Yeah. So when you're out shopping for CBD, there are 3 different types that are available. So the less expensive is typically what's called an isolate, a CBD isolate. So the only thing that's in there is CBD. That's the only cannabinoid. Remember, we talked about the plant having those cannabinoids in it, right? And so all that's in there is CBD. Now, that it works, but mostly in short term. So as far as something that you need long term, it would not be your product of choice. Okay. So for long term, you might want to look more at a broad spectrum or a full spectrum product. Now, the difference being is the broad spectrum products do not contain THC. Okay. And so those are the ones, if you get drug tested and you know that they're testing you for THC specifically, that would be the one that you would want to use, because it does have everything in it except the THC for most products.
Sure.
Now, I can't say all because some people don't put them all in. Some people just put in different cannabinoids and call it broad spectrum, but it really is kind of
regulated.
Isolated with stuff. Exactly. That's part of the problem. Absolutely. And we're working on that actually at the national and state levels.
Sure.
And then the full spectrum products have all of the cannabinoids, including the THC in it. Okay, so you would test positive for that. So it's important when you're out shopping for these that you look at that and know. So you know, based on your circumstances, your employment, what have you, what you're getting.
Right. And I know a lot of people tell me when I bring it up, they say, I work for the government. I can't take anything. And is that actually true? They can't take anything?
So some, depending on what they do, yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I always tell people, go ask your HR department, because it is federally legal. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with you asking it. And most people do. They'll go and ask and get that clarification so that they don't take something that they're not allowed to take, right? Gotcha. So some of them do. And I think it has to do with security clearances and whatnot. I'm not in the government, so I don't really know. but that's my assumption. But, it just depends on what their job is, really. So if they want them to be 100% on, then they probably don't want them to have something that maybe will relax them a little too much. So, if they took too much,
I have never found a problem with the, with the CBDs and when we get into the different, sleep products that you guys have or whatnot. Yes, those things definitely do that. But just the general CBD of the general store that I use I've never found it to do that. But I do feel like just a human being. Again, you said it's a reset button. And that is, I feel like my immune system calms down. I feel like my stress level calms down. When your stress levels are better, you sleep better.
Everything's better.
Everything is better. Because I think stress is ultimately the ruling evil of the day. So, if they are going, kind of give me a roundabout of your products again and kind of the things that you guys have.
So we have the tinctures, which go under your tongue, right? We have gummies as well. Gummies you chew and ingest those. Those take a little bit longer for you to feel it for,
effect.
Thank you. So those take a little longer with that, but then they last longer, right? And then we have topical. Right. So we have, just a very, varied selection at our store.
Gotcha. So what about topicals? If somebody can't use CBD and they use a topical, are they going to be positive on a test?
It typically does not test positive. Sure. It would depend on, again, what product is used to make it. If there's a product that has THC in it, then there is a potential based on the individual's metabolism. Oops, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm wiggling the camera.
No, you're good.
Based on the individual's metabolism.
We're good. We're good.
Yeah,
party.
All right, exactly.
You're fine.
That it could, get into their bloodstream. Okay. So it's very rare, I'll be honest, but it could happen.
Yeah.
So
there's no guarantee.
Correct.
You can never guarantee anybody. But I tell people, the likelihood is pretty little.
Exactly.
So if somebody is not allowed to take it, but it is medically necessary, can a doctor write a note for people? Do you know if that's something policy-wise that can be done?
I know that some doctors do.
I would, right?
It depends on it, right. And especially if you're not having, or you're not using a product that has THC that is mind-altering. And so, I think a lot of people will have that in their medical records. And some people, I do have people that have taken it to their employer.
Right, and I would do that, and I think that's very necessary.
Right.
So that's good. I was trying to think of all the questions that people ask me on a daily basis because there's just so many questions. And some I try to answer in this regard, but, sometimes I'm not quite sure. So that would be one. So how can people find you? Again, I'd like to
They can find me, yes.
They can find you.
They can find me, yes.
Just find me and I'll find you.
Right. Yes, so our web address is www.takerestore.com. And then our toll-free number is 866-479-6646. And that's voice or text. So you can reach me any way. And what I like to do, just so you know, is when you do call me initially, I like to do a little evaluation.
Sure.
So that we can go through your prescription medications to make sure there aren't any contraindicated, right?
Gotcha.
I think that's a big deal.
Gotcha.
And then we'll go over your symptoms, and we will try to match the product based on your symptoms and what you're trying to accomplish.
Understood. That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, that's amazing that you make yourself available as you do, because you really could.
Nights and weekends too.
So I know. Well, I know that. Jeez, I found that out.
I do.
Tell me that.
I just want it to work. Yes.
No, really, you really do provide a wonderful service for people. You're such a kind and loving individual. You've been sick for a long time, so you know, and you're in the trenches and you understand. That's where we are, and that's why you and I get along, I think, so much. So you can find all this information on my website, so drpbetterlife.com. Again, you can find the platforms for all of the podcasts. So again, I'm not just on radio, but I'm on all the podcasts, and I am also on YouTube. And the other thing, too, I'm a doctor here in town as well. So I do see patients. Thank you. I do see patients, and I do talk about CBD. I don't have as much knowledge as Tina here, but I absolutely do have plenty of knowledge and I think CBD is a wonderful asset to your armament. And so, I wish we could get into some things like drug interactions and things like that. There's really not very many.
No, there's not very many.
Let's just put that on there. Right, I think that's another question I get.
Correct.
Drug interactions.
Yeah, there's not very many, but there are some.
Just a few, but
you just need to be aware. Right?
Exactly. But that's something we can easily find for you. But yes, drpbetterlife.com. And I thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Went too fast.
Yes, I know. It always does. We could maybe get more in depth, right?
Absolutely. I think people would enjoy
Part
that.
2.
Absolutely. So we'll do that. But thank you guys for joining us today.
Thank you.